The Genuine Article. Discussion and commentary based on articles from JACC.
Hello, I'm Tony DeMaria, the editor of JACC, here with another edition of the Genuine Article. And today I'm talking to Dr. Athena Pappas. And Athena is the chairperson of the Council on Women in Cardiology of the American College of Cardiology. And she's just completed a survey of both men and women cardiologists to probe issues around how gender affects performance of cardiologists and attraction into the discipline. So welcome, Athena. Tell me, this was a follow-up survey to one that was done about 10 years ago, isn't it?
That's correct. And again, thanks again for having me here. We did it to see what might have changed or not have changed in the last 10 years. There was some interesting findings and then some things that had been put in place both institutionally and I think by ACC and others. And we really wanted to see, one, how attitudes had changed and maybe how some of the interventions might have affected outcomes.
Well, you know, turning to the results, one of the things that really surprised me was that the survey would indicate that the percentage of male cardiologists who are working part-time really is not any different than the percentage of female cardiologists. I think the perception is that a lot more women work only part-time.
Correct. I think that was interesting and surprising for everybody, and that was a change that we saw. Certainly a trend, a big decrease in the number of men, or more men working less than full-time. And the reasons seem to be varied. And I think, again, for workforce issues, it becomes hugely important if both men and women are making lifestyle choices and looking for flexibility or retiring early. We really need to sort of ferret out what that might be, I think.
It really does seem to be so. It was clear that women tended to gravitate more toward academics and more toward general cardiology, a decidedly smaller number of women in intervention electrophysiology.
That's correct. And that hasn't changed a lot, it looks like, in the last 10 years. More women, it looks like, have chosen interventional cardiology. But still, it does seem that the non-invasive and clinical arenas and academic arenas seem to be their choice. Some of it may be due to radiation. One of the questions asked specifically if either respondents made choices in career training or career choice. And 1/4 of the women did make choices based on reducing radiation exposure. So, again, that might be a piece of the puzzle there.
Yeah, but it is interesting to note that women are similarly in the minority in procedurally oriented disciplines like surgery and pulmonary and GI medicine. So it's an interesting observation. I'm not sure if I understand it, though.
True. I guess what we also were surprised with is that still those two things are true, and yet cardiology still lags a little bit behind surgery, which is like 26-27% for subspecialty training, but it should be as equally demanding in time and training length. So it's, again, something to look at between the different disciplines.
Yeah, I was interested, somewhat disheartened to see that a high percentage of women cardiologists feel they've encountered some discrimination in the course of either their training or their practice. Has that been your experience as well?
Maybe not necessarily a personal experience. I think all women have experienced varying degrees, but in the report at least, 69% felt some discrimination, mostly based on gender, some based on parenting, and still more so than the men. But the men still were reporting, a third of the men reporting some effects of race or religion discrimination. And I guess what was also bothersome, as you saw, was that the number hasn't changed. About 71% in 1996 were reporting discrimination. So it's certainly an area that we need more work on.
Yeah, that's for sure. Nevertheless, despite the radiation, despite the issues of discrimination, it was good to see that the overwhelming majority of women in cardiology really are quite satisfied with their situation and their practice.
I think that's true. I think both men and women love their jobs. Over 90% said they were moderately satisfied or highly satisfied. And both men and women were very likely to recommend cardiology as a career choice. So I think those that have gone into it really love their job and are very satisfied by it. So to me it was, I think to all the members of the committee, all the more reason to sort of get the word out to get more people, attract the best and brightest men and women into cardiology.
Sure, it is very encouraging, and it's clearly a major selling point that we have, the fact that women who are in cardiology are so satisfied with their career, and hopefully that'll act as a strong magnet to draw even more women into our discipline. Thanks a million for taking some time with us for the Genuine article. I'm Tony DeMaria.
Thank you so much.
Have a question or comment about a CVN story? Send us an email at cvnfeedback@acc.org.